Welcome back to Aussie Google Earth Explorer. Today we're doing Australia's most prestigious universities. Now, prestigious universities and expensive universities, there's a nice Venn diagram. They meet in the middle, right? More prestigious, more expensive. You'd think so. I hope so. Anyway, these are the most prestigious universities we've got. And we're going to start here. We're going to go down to Melbourne. And Melbourne is the capital of Victoria. We've been down here a couple of times. We saw some things. We were checking out some bridges, and there was a mine nearby that we looked at once. But we're going to be talking about the University of Melbourne. Now, this place is the most prestigious university that we have to offer in Australia. This would be our Harvard or our Oxford or our Yale or I can't think of another university off the top of my head that's prestigious, right? This is, in terms of a global ranking, this is as good as it gets, okay? So let's look this place up. University of Melbourne. Okay, in Park, we're going to Parkville. Here it is, the University of Melbourne. Oh, goodness me, guys. I'm sorry about that. University of Melbourne. And let's have a little look here. So it's kind of in a very built up area, which I really don't like that. It doesn't appear to have. Oh no, look at this. Yeah, it kind of does. Yeah, I'm looking for this. When I think about prestigious universities, I want old buildings. I want it to kind of look Harry Potter-esque. I want to be reminded that I'm in a place where, royalty may have visited, or I don't know, something else along those lines. Something like this looks pretty, this is what I'm talking about, castle-esque. That's pretty cool. Yeah, that's pretty cool. University of Melbourne. This is ranked number 13 globally, which, considering our population size, if that is actually correct, if this is 13 globally, that's incredibly impressive that we're kicking that high up the list. Like I said, pretty small country. What? How many million people live here? 25 million people, 26 million people. It ain't that big. So if we're really 13th globally, it's pretty sick, dude. Pretty sick. Let's have a look around. Let's have a look. See if we can see anything here. So we got some courts here. This looks like a bit of a soccer court, like foosball, not foosball, futsal. Basketball. Actually, that's not futsal. That's full size. That's just a soccer field. We got a cricket oval here. Pretty standard, really. It's not looking that different. A couple of tennis courts. Cricket nets. And then these old buildings. It's cool. It's kind of cool. It looks like it's next to a huge cemetery. Wow, that's kind of bizarre. Wow, look at the size of this cemetery. Whoa. Ladies and gentlemen, we have stumbled upon a huge cemetery. That'll be an interesting episode. We could do Australia's largest cemeteries. They're pretty. I find cemeteries quite interesting. Like if I'm ever going for a walk and I see one and I have a bit of time to kill, I like to just walk around them really slowly and just check out some of the gravestones. I don't think it's not like, I don't feel like I'm prying. It's just interesting to see the history and to see the names of the people, the year that they died. Sometimes they even write on the headstone how they died. And you get to learn a lot of things about, like the illnesses of the time. Sometimes they're actually quite specific of what they died from. So I like to walk through. Cemeteries. You know what you got to do when you walk through a cemetery? Walking through a cemetery and walking through an art gallery, you always have to have your hands behind your back. I don't know what it is, but you got to have your hands behind your back. You enter an art gallery and your hands magically just go behind your back. Like you don't even need to control them. They just make their way behind your back. It's incredible. Someone's got to do a study on that, why your hands go behind your back when you go into an art gallery. And also, when you turn 60 years old and you start walking around, your hands also go behind your back. So there you go. There's a couple of things there for you guys to look into. And I'll tell you what, if this place really is ranking 13th globally, I'm sure that someone could do some studies on that here. In fact, I'm sure someone can do some studies on that here. And they could tell us why that is, in fact, that you put your hands behind your back when you go into an art gallery or a cemetery or over the age of 60 going for a morning walk. And this is, I presume this kind of looks like a dorm room. Yeah, this would be where the boarders stay. And these are very old buildings. Oh yeah, these are really old buildings here. Dorothy Building, Clark's Building, Sharwood Room. And I believe that these, my brother went to uni in Melbourne. He went to RMIT. And he told me that in Melbourne, they do like balls. So each semester or each week, or I don't know what they do, but they all dress up in like nice clothes and they eat together and they go into the ballroom. I've never heard of that in any other state. They definitely don't do that. They might do that in Sydney. Maybe they do that. We'll get to that. We're gonna go to Sydney next, and we're gonna look at the most prestigious university in Sydney. But yeah, they have like balls or something, which the uni I went to, we did one like once a year, but it was just a bit of an excuse to put a suit on and then like vomit on it later on. So yeah, probably not the same vibe. Anyway, what have we got here? Who went here? So notable alumni include former Prime Minister Julia Gillard, okay, former Prime Minister of this great country of ours, and author Germaine Greer. Okay, so if you don't know who Germaine Greer is, she is she's probably the most famous Australian feminist writer, and she wrote a book called The Female Eunuch, which is one of the most important texts in a feminist movement in, I believe, the 70s. That's correct. Don't get angry at me if that's not correct, but I learned about that. My mum taught me about that. Single parent, you know. I got a bit of feminism in me. Alrighty, what are we talking about here? Price for a full degree of commerce, $43K. So it's not that expensive. And actually, you know what's funny? I was looking through this list and I've got prices for all these universities. None of them are really that expensive. I did an episode on the most expensive private schools to go to in Australia, and the tuition there was like 50 grand a year. And to go to uni for 4 years is only 50 grand as well. So high school is way more expensive than university, which is kind of odd when you think about it. But that's University of Melbourne. Very bougie. The most bougie we have, technically number 13 globally. And we're going to leave Melbourne behind. We're going to come back. We'll come back maybe later on in Melbourne. But we're going to go to the University of Sydney. Now, I'm a little bit biased. Let's zoom out here. I'm a little bit biased because I live in Sydney and I actually live very close to this university. And I walk past it sometimes. You can walk through it. It's just, you can walk through it. And it is, I honestly can say this, going into this place is like going into another world. It feels like you're in a Harry Potter movie. It is unbelievable. We're going to find it here. So it's just off Parramatta Road. Let me get my bearings here. I believe it is right here. So this is the University of Sydney, and this main building here is absolutely ridiculous in real life. Standing in the middle of this square here, you can stand here and they ring these church bells and you feel like you are on another planet. You definitely don't feel like you're in Australia, that's for sure. You feel like you're transported to another time. It is the most beautifully manicured grass you've ever seen. This place is stunning, dude. It is so nice to look at and walk around. If you live in Sydney, I encourage you to go for a little walk, cruise around here and just walk around the university grounds. You're not going to get in any trouble. You can walk around it. There's people walking around the whole joint. Just check out the architecture of some of these buildings. They are unbelievable, mate. They are unbelievable. Go check it out. You will not regret it. But this is the University of Sydney, and this comes in at number 18 on the list globally. Which, look, I've got my rankings written down here, and I got these from the internet. If that is true again, man, we're punching above our weight considering how big the world is and how little people we have in Australia. But this is a nice place. This is a nice place. Couple of facts here I've got for you. Price for a full degree of commerce. So I wanted to just keep it even across the board here, and I didn't want to, have prices for law here and medicine here and commerce here. So I've just gone commerce, so business. That's just a common degree. Again here, ranges from 40 to 55K. So pretty much every university that we're looking at here is like the same price. There's no real difference, which is, you'd expect that. They're all kind of the same, right? You go there, you drink a couple goon cups, you get drunk on goon. If you don't know what goon is, it's like box wine. Although this is a pretty bougie university, so maybe they're drinking something else. They're probably all drinking spirits or going to cocktail bars or something. I don't know. Notable alumni. Rupert Murdoch went here. Wow. Okay, so Rupert Murdoch, love him or hate the guy, probably the most influential Australian to ever live. He's still alive. He's in his 90s. He's kicking around. Rupert Murdoch, aka News Baron 1000, owns News Corp, Fox, like one of the most influential people in the world. He owns American cable network Fox. He owns all the newspapers all the big tabloid newspapers in the UK, Australia, around the world. He's insanely influential. In fact, the show Succession, if you haven't seen that, watch that, an HBO show called Succession. That's based on his life and the power struggle within his children to get all his money as he got older. But this is University of Sydney, and it is stunning. It is absolutely stunning. This is probably my favorite so far on the list, just because what it looks like. What a view, man. Brilliant. I'm loving that. All right, let's move on. University of Sydney, you've been great. Let's move on. We're going to go somewhere new now. We're going to go to a place that we've never been before on Aussie Google Earth Explorer, a city we've never been before. Because to be completely honest, there's not really that much to talk about. And for all those listening at home that don't know, if you ask someone from America where the capital of Australia is, what is the capital, right? Where is it? Most people would either say Sydney or Melbourne, but you'd be wrong. It's actually Canberra, this tiny little place in the middle of nowhere. This is the capital. And the story goes that Melbourne and Sydney were having a bit of an argument about who should be the capital. And this could be wrong. And they thought, all right, well, neither of you get it. We're just going to chuck a city in the middle, and this is where the parliament's going to be. This is where our version of the White House is. And it's pretty cool. It's actually pretty cool. Here it is. This is Parliament House. So this is our White House. Well, actually, no, this is not our White House because our Prime Minister doesn't live here. There's a place where he lives. This is our Parliament. So this would be like, I don't know what the equivalent in America is. I'm showing my lack of knowledge about the American political system, but this is where all the decisions get made. And this is kind of like the main thing in Canberra. No one really knows about Canberra apart from that's where the capital is and that's where Parliament House is. But it has a university here that ranks incredibly highly globally, and it's our third most prestigious university. And it's called ANU, or the Australian National University. And we're going to go there right now. ANU Canberra. Here we go, the Australian National University. And it's kind of a little bit more green. It's kind of Canberra's pretty dry because it's in the middle of the country, but this looks like a little bit more of a bush university. It's a little bit more spread out. There's not as many big buildings here. There's definitely none of those old school Victorian buildings. This is a relatively modern university. This is a relatively new university. And it's not going to have the same sort of the stories of, the king went here or anything. This is probably quite a modern university. And this is only ranked 30 globally. But still, that's pretty good, man. And you got to be smart as hell to go in here. Like, you really got to be you got to be super switched on. As far as I understand, and I don't know a lot, this university is it punches above its weight in terms of like sciences, engineering. ANU is top. It's like a really, really hard uni to get into. A lot of the unis in Sydney and Melbourne, they have a massive amount of international students going to them. And they're private institutions, right? So it makes up a huge amount of their profit margin. Like if international students didn't go to those universities, they wouldn't be making nearly as much money as they would off domestic students. They charge more for international degrees. You have to pay like 30% more if you're an international student. And you're getting rich kids from China, from India, from like Singapore, Hong Kong, coming over here to get degrees. And as far as I understand, a lot of those kids are going to school at University of Sydney, at University of Melbourne. But I don't know how many of those kids are going to school at ANU. Now, there might be as many, but there might not be. I feel like the proximity of this uni, just where it's at. If I'm an international student, I don't want to be in Canberra. I want to be over here in Sydney, right? I want to be on the beach. Why would you want to be here? But this is ANU. This is ANU, and it's honestly, it's probably, apart from the look of University of Sydney, I like the look of this one more. Like you could go for a run around here. You could just get away from everything. You could just go and relax a little bit. Canberra's pretty quiet compared to Sydney and Melbourne. It's way more slow paced. So going to school here wouldn't be nearly as intense as going to school in Sydney or Melbourne. Where you're living is more relaxed. I feel like this would be probably pretty good place to go to uni, right? And if you went to school, please drop a comment. If you liked it, tell us a story about what it was like to go to ANU. The only experience I have about going to Canberra and a university is not ANU, ladies and gentlemen. Let me just get my bearings here and see if we can find the University of Canberra, which is the complete opposite to ANU. It is the complete opposite to ANU. This is UC. Okay. Now, UC, if ANU, you had to get a 90 to get in on your end of year exams, to get into University of Canberra, mate, just send them a text. They'll let you in. Just send them. I know guys that got under 40% in their final exams and they got let into UC. This uni here is like, anyone can go here, mate. Anyone can go here. Here it is here. And it doesn't look that good, does it? It kind of looks like a big jail. And hey, this is not a drive-by on UC. I'm sure a lot of people come from different walks of life, and I'm sure this place was great for a lot of people. All my mates that went to UC loved it, and I had a great time here. But it was nothing to do with the university. It was everything to do with just living on campus and just causing an absolute ruckus and never going to class, which is probably the complete opposite of what it was like to go to Canberra, to ANU. And I believe that this actually might be some of the accommodation over here. Yeah, this might be some of the accommodation over here. Anyway, I'm getting off topic. That's UC. This is the ugly younger brother of ANU. And I think that'll probably do us for Canberra. See you later, Canberra. Sorry for talking badly about you, UC, but I had a lot of fun at your parties. I don't know about you as an educational institute. We're doing one more. We're going to finish up. We're going to do one more university here, and we're going to finish at where should we go next? Let's go to Monash University. Monash University is in Melbourne. We'll go back to Melbourne and we'll check out Monash. This one is ranked 37th globally in the world. Okay, so 37th. And I forgot to mention, ANU, it costs same price, about $40,000 to $50,000 for a degree at ANU, and Monash very similar, about $35,000 to $45,000 for a degree in commerce. Okay, let's check it out. Let's have a little look at Monash University. Let's see what it's all about. I'm hoping it looks cool. And already I'm liking the look of it. I'm liking the look of this. I'm loving the fields. You don't see much. You don't see baseball fields very often in Australia, so that's interesting that they've got a little baseball situation here. That might speak to its international student intake, why they would have a baseball field. That's quite interesting. Baseball field, lots of tennis courts. The Rotunda building. The Menzies building. I like the look of this. I'm liking Monash. Monash House. Cute little swimming pool there. Okay. Monash House. Yeah, Monash is cool. And check out where it is, right? We're here. Do you remember where we were for University of Melbourne? We were right in the centre. So it is actually quite suburban compared to the University of Melbourne. And I think I kind of prefer that. I don't think I'd want to go to uni directly in the centre of the city. That would be far too hectic. Out here, a little bit more suburban, a little bit more residential. Yeah, and then maybe nearby all your mates that after your first year and you move off campus or whatever, maybe getting a rental will be easier. You could rent nearby. A lot of these places, maybe there'd be some student accom houses here where you could have house parties and stuff. That'd be sick. I'm liking Monash. Doing a bit of building here. I'm liking Monash. What else we got nearby? Okay, so this looks like the student accommodation. This to me screams student accommodation here. This is probably a little student car park. This is where you get your little park pass. And then, you have your little dorm room here. Man, living on campus, the best. If I got to live on campus, I was very lucky. I got to go to a university of Wollongong, it's called. It's near Sydney. We were there just before, and I lived on campus, and it was the greatest thing ever. Living on campus is the best part about going to university. So this is Monash University, and it's, as I said, it's not ranked as high as all the others. This is 37th globally, but man, you go here, you have a good time, you get your degree, you make some friends, you play a bit of baseball if that's what you're about, and you just live your life, mate. Notting Hill, I thought that was in London. That's a bit of a surprise. And hold on, it would be remiss of me not to say this every episode, but I wonder if you could fish in this pond. I wonder if you could fish in that pond. Tell you what, I would try. No harm in trying. Could be a redfin in there. There you go. That's Monash University, ladies and gentlemen. And that wraps it up. That is Australia's most prestigious universities. If you enjoyed that one, drop a comment, drop a like, whatever, or don't. And see you in the next video. See ya.